Hello, welcome to an episode of Wandering Photography. If you're new here, I'm Gemma. The purpose of this series is to show that you don't have to stick to one type of photography. You can go off adventuring and just take pictures of what you see as you go along. Today we're at Westonbirt Arboretum. It is prime autumn time, 30th of October I think. But yeah, the colour's looking really good, so gonna get out and take some photos. I think there'll be a range of stuff today. A bit of macro looking at the colours of the leaves and getting close up to those, and then probably some wider angle stuff looking at the trees and sort of the compositions as a whole. So yeah, I hope you join me and we'll see what we can find. I really like the colours on this. The leaves are amazing, so I'm going to try and use my macro lens to really focus on these colours, the greens and the reds and the yellows. Doesn't it just sum up autumn? It's amazing. So macro lens is on and get some photos of these leaves. The first thing that captured my eye about this tree is sort of the flowery shape of the leaves as they spread out, and as I get closer I just really like the lines of the leaves. So I'm going to try and take some photos here. I'm going to learn from my puzzlewood trip and try and avoid the bright white skies behind and go that way. So we'll see what we can get with that. Look at the amount of berries on here. There definitely must be a picture here. I think it's time to get the macro back on. It's going to be a lot of switching lenses today, I think. The downsides of using the macro is that I have to autofocus it because it's an old lens. Not autofocus, manual focus. Which this morning I'm finding a bit challenging. I can't seem to tell what's in focus or what's out of focus. Maybe it's because I've got up early to get here early before too many kids arrive, because it happens to be half term. And my glasses keep steaming up, which doesn't really help either. So hopefully I'll get the hang of it once we get going. But I think I've got a few cool ones of this tree, and the berries are on it. They're a really nice colour at the moment. So. Well, the weather's pretty average today. It's kind of greyish. It's the joys of being a photographer. Doesn't matter what the weather's doing, it's never going to be good enough. Too sunny and it's too bright. Cloudy, it's a bit boring because there's no light on the leaves. But that's the challenge of photography. You've got to make the most of what you're given, right? Especially if you're outdoors. So someone just ran past, seems a bit energetic. I'm going very slowly. I really like this leaf. I love the sort of jagged edges on it and the holes on the side, so I'm going to do something macro but maybe a bit arty, just kind of get half of the leaf in and see what that looks like. Colours on this tree are amazing, how they go from green into the red, and because we've got very dark green as the background, the tree kind of stands out on its own. It doesn't blend in too much. So back to the wide angle lens, I'm going to try and get one of the whole tree, and I might even try just doing half the tree, but we'll see how that goes. Changing my lens again. Look at these little pine cones, they're so cute. I've been out for 40 minutes. I've just walked up one footpath and that's it. It just keeps stopping. It's so pretty and there's lots of photos. It may get to a point and I just get bored of taking the photos, but for now I'm quite enjoying myself, so why not? I've taken the day off work, so I might as well make the most of it. I thought I'd take a couple of days off and enjoy the autumn colour. Did not realise it was half term. Bit of a mistake, so gonna be getting up early and getting out and about to try and get out before the kids. Whether that's gonna work or not, I guess we'll find out. So far there's still quite a few kids around, but probably not as many as there will be later, so yeah, enjoy the nearly quiet and try and get a few snaps. I love the leaves that are kind of clean and tidy, but I'm also absolutely fascinated by the sort of older ones and as they're about to drop, and they make really cool shapes. I've been trying to get my camera to focus on this one, but my actual camera with my macro lens has taken a really cool photo, so I will show you that now. There's definitely no way we're doing black and white images today. I mean, look at the colours on these leaves. I mean, I just love the greens, and then just that bit of red around the edges, they're just about starting to turn. It's really cool. Does anyone else like listening into other people's conversations, or is that just me? I was listening to a mum telling her daughter that she wasn't allowed to pick a leaf off a tree because that would be like pulling a hair out of somebody's head and it'd be painful, so I mean, it worked. But I always enjoy listening to other people's conversations. It's part of the joy of being on your own, is you're actually taking in what's around you, and sometimes that's other people. Well, my parents are both gardeners, and it turns out I picked up a lot more about plants than I ever think I know. But I've just been walking past this tree. Look at the size of this leaf, it's bigger than my head, and I know that this is a tulip tree because the leaf has got the shape of a tulip. So there you go. It's not very often I use all three lenses in one trip, but I have just got my long lens out because I really like the lines of the trees. I'm trying really hard to avoid the sky, but I also liked the point at which the trees all start touching each other, but they're different colours, so they look really good because they stand out against each other, they don't blend in. And I'd only be able to get that from this distance, but to not get everything else in I needed to use the long lens to zoom in. If I walked up close I'd end up getting the gaps between the trees, which isn't what I wanted. So see what you think of that. It's a bench, you know, I love a bench. So one of the things I'm looking at here is that I don't want, there's two trees there, and if I move around a little bit I can get the bench to sit between the trees. I'm not too bothered about seeing like this sort of stuff around the back. What I really like is the leaves, the bench, and then the green contrasting of the trees above. So I'm going to try and get the bench centered, and then just gonna have to be careful with my exposure because this is under the trees, so it's quite dark, and then the background behind is quite bright, so I just have to play around with that a little bit. All these old leaves that have not quite fallen yet. I was trying to take pictures of my wide angle lens close up because I couldn't be bothered to switch lenses, but I've given in and switched to my macro again. There's something about these leaves, I just feel like they look a bit like people dancing, or there's something about the movement and the shape of them that I really like. Or maybe they're one of those like spot test type things where, yeah, depends what you see in the leaf as to what that means about your mental state. Okay, well, I've only made it around the old part of the woodland, and I've done a lot of videoing and taken a lot of photos, so I think we're going to split this trip into two. First half being this half, which is the old woodland, and then I will do another episode which will be going around the new part of the woodland. Is it a woodland? Arboretum. The colours on these flowers are lovely, and then you've got some in here that are kind of going off as well, so that would make quite a contrast to the colours. And I really like the blues and purples and pinks. These remind you of something out of a Dr. Seuss film, or is that just me? If you want to see the next episode, then make sure you subscribe, and if you hit the little notification bell next to it, then you'll get a notification when I upload the next video. If you enjoyed this video as well, please do give it a like, that really helps me out. Thanks, and I'll see you again next time. Bye!